Hi everyone, at Digital Colmer here today. Day 3, where I'm going to give you some tips on how to pass your AWS AI Practitioner. Well, I'm actually going to give you some knowledge, that's really what I'm going to do. But besides that, what am I doing today? Well, today is day 2 of an architecting course. So I've been doing some wonderful sketching. I showed you some of that yesterday. I've been doing some more of that today, lots of demos, very engaged audience. But back to the subject, AI Practitioner. So today, let me talk you through the machine learning and lifecycle. How does it work? How do we get data all the way from finding where it might be, all the way through to producing an incredible business solution? So I'm going to keep this very simple, team. First thing we need to do is think about the business problem that we're trying to solve and the types of data that's going to help us. So we might need to scour our different source systems within our organization. We might look at relational databases, non-relational data stores, social media feeds, whatever is relevant for our business use case. So very important to define that up front. Once we have defined our business use case and we're familiar with the types of data that we might need, we can go and find that data. We then need to take the data, we need to clean it up. So maybe it contains lots of, I don't know, zeros, lots of noise in the data that we need to clean up. Maybe there's mismatched fields, who knows? Data is in all kinds of states, so we just need to clean that up. Once we've got our clean data, we then segregate the data into our training data set, our test data set, and our validation data set. And once we are at that point, we need to start thinking about the algorithm we might need to use. Of course, me being AWS, I want to use SageMaker, or potentially for generative AI, I might use Bedrock. But let's start with training our model. So I'm going to use SageMaker to train the model. I'm going to train it on the data that's now stored in Simple Storage Servers or S3. I'm going to ingest that data and I'm going to see how my algorithm works against that data. I then might tune my algorithm. I use hyperparameter tuning. Lots of things I might do to get the right outcome. And I might run thousands of those training algorithms to create thousands of models. I then would register my model in the model registry in SageMaker, and then we're going to start testing my models. Once I've done that, I might use I'm going to use the validation data and the test data to understand whether my models are underfitting or overfitting. I'll talk about underfitting and overfitting in another module, I think. I don't want to cover it today, but basically, is our model performing as we want it to? If the answer is yes, great. We take our final model. We then deploy that model into SageMaker as part of our business solution. Maybe we're going to create a lovely UI for that business solution. Whatever we're going to do, we're going to create all the other components we need, integrate it with our SageMaker model endpoint, and we're going to use that endpoint to run what we call inference. So that's basically getting the business outcomes. Now, the important differentiator between training a model and running inference on a model is training. You're actually creating the model, it's actually learning. That can take many hours, days, weeks, or months to do. Whereas the inference, we're getting back business decisions very quickly. So generally, we want decisions back in a few seconds. So that's a key difference between the inference, which is relatively quick, and the training, which is quite slow. So that's probably all we need to know about the machine learning lifecycle. One other detail I have failed to mention was once we have the data ready to go and cleaned, we might need to do some feature engineering. So think of a spreadsheet with lots of columns. Those are like features, and we might want to understand, do we need to reduce the features that we have because too many features can cause lots of noise in our training algorithm and give poor results? Or do we want to combine some of our features? So that was one step that I neglected to talk about. So let's just walk through that life cycle. Define the business problem, understand the types of data you need, go and find that data, clean the data. Once the data is clean, you do your feature engineering, choose which features are important. We then segregate our data sources into training, validation, and test. We run it through a machine learning algorithm. We obviously need to choose the algorithm that's suitable for our business case. We might use multiple algorithms. We run lots and lots of experiments, run lots and lots of models, test all those models, and choose the best one. And then that model ends up being run in test and then hopefully production in SageMaker on an inference endpoint. And then we integrate it with our application and get the business outcomes we need. So that's it. That's the machine learning lifecycle. Hope you've learned a lot today, team. Thank you so much for your time. This is Digital Colmer. signing off.